Oh, hi, I'm Alan.
And I'm Sick.
You know, we really enjoy cooking with meat.
But vegetables are important too.
But we know that you might not have time to make a meal that has the meat separate from the vegetables.
So this week, we're cooking the meat right inside the vegetables. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Alan.
I'm Stick.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're going to talk about making stuffed peppers. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to 375 degrees. We had a lot of complaints from people that we didn't tell them about that until halfway through our first episode. And you're also going to want to heat up a pot of water to the boiling point.
So to begin cooking the peppers, what you'll want to do is cut each pepper in half. And these are 2 medium-sized green peppers. And once you cut them in half, you want to core them, take out the stems and all of the seeds. If you want to leave a couple seeds in there, it does add a little spice to the peppers. That's where peppers get a lot of their spice from.
Now, you could just use your hand when you core it, but
a knife is more fun.
We all know how Stick's a bit of a rebel without a cause when it comes to knives.
It would be easier with a paring knife, but since somebody broke our paring knife, I need to use that big thing.
I broke one of the paring knives. It's not my fault we didn't own the other paring knife.
Could have had at least the decency to break the one we didn't own.
So anyway, you want to make sure they're nice and clean.
So the next thing you're going to want to do is cut up 1/3 of a cup of onion. And unlike in the stew where we left the onion pretty large, you're going to want to cut this very fine so that you get the taste of onion, but not the texture of it.
And if you're willing to hold your nose through the entire meal, and you happen to be out of onion, then you can substitute apple or potato.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. According to Wikipedia, the only difference between an apple, a potato, and an onion is in the smell, not in the taste. So, that's a good point to know.
But how would a potato fall on Isaac Newton's head?
No,
I don't know.
Isaac Newton would have fallen on the potato. So after the water has come to a boil, you're going to want to put the peppers in it and let them boil for about 3 minutes so that they become nice and soft. And we actually didn't quite use enough water here. I would recommend filling it up enough so that the peppers are completely covered.
I still think that we used enough. The steam that came off of the water was enough to tenderize the peppers enough.
I think you're going to get an uneven amount of softness if you don't use a consistent water versus steam method.
Well, then everybody has their own cooking opinions.
Well, what would
let's
be
not
your
fight.
opinion on the amount of this meat stick?
Well, Alan, I would say that that's probably about 3/4 of a pound. And you're going to saute that in onions with about a teaspoon of olive oil until it's nice and brown.
And you're going to want to break that apart so that it cooks a lot quicker.
It's also hard to fit 3/4 of a pound of beef into one pepper.
That's what we pay you for, Chris. Insights like that. So, after the peppers have become soft, you're going to want to carefully remove them from the pot and flip them upside down on a plate so that they drain out.
And you're going to want to use a big spoon like that because they are extremely hot. It's boiling hot water, and they're inside of the peppers, and you want to make sure all of that water is drained out.
And you should watch that steam because it is quite hot.
And after you get them all out, you can flip them over, and you're going to want to put a little bit of salt on each one of them, and then flip them back over to continue draining. And I would recommend exactly not to do what we're doing, which is flipping them by hand, because both Stick and I hurt ourselves a bit doing that. So just keep using the spoon.
All right, and then you're going to keep an eye on the ground beef as you're doing the peppers. Make sure they get nice and colorful, nice brown color, and keep mixing them to make sure it's all even.
I should point out that if the meat becomes too colorful, you might want to consider not eating it. So after the meat's been cooked, you're going to want to put in a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, a quarter teaspoon of dried basil, and a quarter teaspoon of oregano.
And then you're going to add salt and pepper to taste, which you can't quite see us doing in this video, but we did do.
So does making these videos shame you into cleaning your kitchen more often?
Well, it shames us into cleaning the kitchen directly before each video, that's for sure.
Chris, you haven't said very much in this video. You want to tell us some more about the insights into steam burns?
Well, that's an interesting topic today.
Let me just say that we've added a third a cup of rice and a 7.5 ounce can of diced tomatoes, which we're also going to mix in there. And then we're going to add half a cup of water, which we're going to bring to a simmer and mix that all together.
Well, anyway, our RA was once making tea, but backwards, by heating the tea kettle first and then placing the water into the tea kettle, which resulted in explosive steam. And she burnt both her hands severely. So be careful of peppers.
Yes, be careful of the steam. It's much more dangerous than it looks on camera.
But it will feel the right amount of dangerous.
All right, so what you want to do is bring the mixture to a boil, and once it's brought to a boil, you're going to cover it. We don't actually have a cover for that pan, so we just use a pan of approximate size. And you're going to reduce the heat down to a simmer, and give it about 15 minutes to 20 minutes. We didn't give it enough time the first time. The rice was still a little hard, so we added another 5 minutes to it. I'd say 15 to 20 minutes would be enough, depending on what type of rice you use. And again, you're going to watch out for the steam. And add a third of a cup of cheese. In this case, we use cheddar cheese. The recipe called for American cheese, but we chose to use cheddar in its place.
And American cheese isn't that good anyway.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend almost anything over American cheese. So we're now filling the peppers, and if you end up having more mixture than you can fit in the peppers, it's perfectly fine to leave some outside of the peppers and just put it around inside the pan.
Mm.
Looks good, doesn't it?
Now, if you ever want to experiment with this recipe, it's one of the safer recipes to do that with. As long as you boil the peppers and cook the meat thoroughly and make sure the rice is soft, it will turn out pretty good.
And you're going to put it in the oven, which you've been warned to preheat to 375 degrees, for about 20 minutes. And 20 minutes is now up.
It looks like we kind of just put it in, closed it, and then opened it, and it was done. But that isn't what happened.
And we're now going to top it off with a little more cheese. And you'll see I stuck to more cheddar, and Stick decided to put some provolone on top of his.
I'd prefer some ground Parmesan or Romano cheese myself. And
so here's the final meal, and we decided to add a salad, which we explained in episode 1. And the total cost came out to $8, which is $4 per person or $2 per half pepper. All right, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next time. Oh, hi, I'm Alan.
And I'm Stick.
You know, Stick.
What did I...